All right, here we are in the first map, Whirlwind. Mikael is the red Terran down in the bottom right, and he'll be facing off against Empire's Beastie Cutie, the green Terran, up in the top left.
Yeah, and just to mention once again, Karont3 Esports Club only has a few official members that are actually on it. They have their captain, which is technically a Protoss player, another one of the brothers there. But of course, Vortex and Lucifron are the two most well-known members. Zerg and a Terran player, and they also have LoL versus XD, another Zerg player. So they don't have enough players to compete, so they do pull in mercenaries from other squads in order to bring their squad up to full, I guess. And so that's why Verity is now part of the team, a very strong Protoss player. We have Mikael, who's from the Apprender squad, and we also have Alistor, another top EU Grandmaster player.
Yeah, and he's on X6 tense, however you say that. Existence, I guess, would be the, you know, how you normally say the word, but there's an X instead of an S. X6 tense. Is how you would say it, I suppose. Either way, BCQD versus Mikael. TBT to get things started. Obviously, both teams do submit their first player blindly. They don't actually have a chance to sort of match up and you know, throw up a player who'll be good against the other, because then if you did that, you just go back and forth. It's like, oh, you're going to put up Vortex first? Well, we're going to put up our sniper. And it's like, oh, you're going to put up your sniper first? Well, we're going to change the Lucifron. And then, you know, it'll just go forever. So they do have blind picks when starting a best-of-9 series for IPTL. All they know is the map, and actually both squads choosing a Terran for this map, and both Terrans choosing the same build, because it is a very large map. You can feel some safety and security when going very, very, very fast command centers. Command
center first, indeed. And the best part about TVT is you're guaranteed Terran music, I have to say, as we hear that jamming in the background now. However, you know, this is a very large map. There's only one Zelnaga tower and very wide running paths, so it's a little bit harder to lock down with just a couple of siege tanks. It's very easy to flank units, so I would expect a little more mobile forces. I imagine, you know, if this would get really late game, we would still see that big Marine tank composition or something along those lines. But I think there's going to be an emphasis on mobility, flanking, and dropping as we move through this game.
Yeah, and Bio obviously is very versatile. After being able to do some early pressure with it, of course, you get the chance to add on Medivacs, lots of different upgrades to just make them super powerful. Stim gives them that super speed that is very important when harassing and doing drops and things like that. So obviously, if Bio ends up not cutting it, or if you feel like you're getting outnumbered by your opponent, you can do transition into more tanks or even air units to begin changing it up a little bit. You just, you know, the trick is just staying alive. So adding a lot of barracks early on is nice to just keep you alive during the first, you know, 10 minutes of the game. Factory actually being added on for Mikael, so we are going to see a little bit of divergence in build here.
And I did have the pleasure of meeting everyone from Karont3 Esports Club. It was a very loud room, though, when Mikael told me that I was mispronouncing his name for a long time. I think we had stressed the L part of it, and apparently that's not the case. So if I'm still mispronouncing it, that's fine. Just punch me the next time you see me.
So really the emphasis is on the E, Mikael?
Yeah, so I think it's just Mikael.
Mikael.
Yes.
Okay.
I have no idea. I really, honestly, I apologize.
Mikael is what you're saying.
Please, you feel free to tweet it as Karont3, and we apologize in advance. But anyway, SEV is going to get in and see, actually stopped by a second Marine, so no good idea of what's exactly going on. BCQD, of course, putting up his own factory, but it's quite a bit later than Mikael's was.
Yeah, it looks like Mikael does want to invest more in a Hellion option as he flips these around, at least getting those first two out while a starport can be added on. And then, of course, if Mikael adds a tech lab onto the barracks soon, he will have those options, both options available for the starport when he eventually builds it. But right now, just still macroing away, building 2 SCBs at a time, you know, staying on top of everything, as is Beastie Cutie. Beastie actually going to be the first one to put up a starport, and he actually has both options to work with as well, or will once that reactor gets finished.
And there we go, already floating off of the tech lab, so we'll see what he ends up moving into in a bit. Mech is a possibility here, but the immobility of it, I think, would weaken it just a touch on Whirlwind, because the map is so large, because there are so few options to set up defensive positions in the middle of the map. We'll find out, though. First couple of Hellions running by, like, wait a second, there's someone shooting us. They kill the Marine in the middle.
I still always like when the Hellions stutter step, they actually like ramp up into the air a little bit. Like they always have like the afterburner kick them a little bit. It's kind of funny when you see them stutter stepping in big groups, because it's like they're all popping wheelies at the same time. But I just noticed it. Yeah, I just noticed it when they were killing that Marine. They're like popping up and hopping around him. But another command center actually being added on by Beastie pretty quickly. That is going to allow him obviously to make 3 SCVs at a time, use those for mules, and eventually land it at a safe third location. But there's no fighting units here for Beastie Cutie. Mikola could actually get some damage done to these SCVs.
Yeah, and he manages to kill a couple, but a few getting pretty low in health. But the Hellions, they've done a little bit of damage, but not as much as I would have expected. Still 4 SCVs for 2 Hellions, not the worst trade there.
Was it actually 2 Hellions that got destroyed, or just 1?
2.
Okay, cool.
He sent up, well, was it? Because I thought he sent up 2 more just then to reinforce, but I see one of them's already hurt. That's because it was taking out the Marine back at home.
That's
so
right.
yeah. So it was actually just a couple of Marines that, or Hellions that went down. Oh, don't stop and fire on the tank. You can't kill that.
So they are going to go for the much more valuable, much easier to kill SCVs. If he gets one more blast, yeah, nice skewer there, making these Hellions at least somewhat worth it. Can't quite get the last one, but losing all those Hellions without any kills would have been devastating, or at least, disappointing for Mikoel. And Beastie Cutie actually down quite a few SCVs, but he's got that 3rd command center done now, so he can start churning out SCVs even faster than his opponent.
3rd command center is just about finished for Mikoel as well, so he won't be too far behind in that regard, but he doesn't have any turrets up in place. Thankfully for him, there's no cloak in the air, so we'll see what he can do with this Banshee here as manages to pick off 3 SCVs, but already a medevac overhead as well. That's a nice touch to help heal up those units.
All right, and yeah, he actually took some shots on the mule, but did not manage to kill it, so nice for Mikoel to be able to keep that alive. And did he repair it back up? Maybe I just saw the missiles hitting randomly.
It may have hit like an SCV that was really close to it, because I thought it was going down there as well.
All right, there's a Raven actually coming out pretty quickly now for Beastie Cutie to supplement his Marine forces that he's got on the ground. +1/+1 for his Marines coming along as well. And I don't believe that Mikoel has actually invested that much into his bio. I don't think he has any engineering bay. Oh, there is at least +1 starting right now. Just the 1 engineering bay. Okay, so Beastie is going to emphasize MMM a lot higher than Mikoel is.
Now, kind of a cool thing to note is that Mikoel just took out the neutral supply depot that actually sits here outside of your natural. We saw a game where Sheth was actually able to take advantage of the fact that it was there. There was a big supply depot waltz against, I forgot who he was playing at the moment, but he took out the neutral one because that wasn't going to get repaired up. So, and he was able to bust on through.
Yeah, that was in the first match, actually, that Liquid played against EG. I'm pretty sure he was able to take advantage there. But either way, now that the depot is gone, it's not going to cause any problems. He's probably not even going to replace it with anything. So Beastie is actually going to try and take his 3rd base here. I wouldn't... actually, I was going to say I would be surprised if Mikoel didn't actually do the same location, but he's feeling a little bit more confident putting it out in front and a little bit more open of an area. You can actually kind of scatter siege tanks around that area too and keep it pretty well defended, but we'll have to see how much he actually invests in that. He's got 5 Marines and a single tank coming out at the moment. He's got, it seems like he's got a ton of medevacs. He's been cranking those out since he got the starport up.
Oh, let's see here now. Yeah, 3 and 4 just about to pop up, and he does have a fair number of bio units out there. He's working off a 3 barracks load to his opponent's 5, I believe. Yeah, there's a 5th right down there at the bottom. So Beastie Cutie has a little bit of an infrastructure advantage. Both players are dead, even in economy as well. So really, it's just going to come down to units and positioning. I like the inclusion of the Raven for its utility in any Terran army. But other than that, looks like a little bit of a medevac advantage and Marine advantage for Mikoel, but Beastie Cutie does have the better count of tanks.
Yeah, slightly more tanks will possibly mean better splash damage when they do actually encounter each other, but the upgrades are actually missing for Mikoel. +1 armor and +1 weapons just about to finish actually, and +2/+2 already begun for Beastie.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got +1 weapons for his mech coming up at the same time. Good decision, though, as Mikoel is putting down his 2nd factory, so he will be able to catch up in those tanks and eventually push ahead when the time comes. And he is slowly starting to stretch a supply advantage, but like we mentioned before, it's coming at the expense of a lot of infrastructure.
Look at all these barracks now being added on, factories as well. So Beastie Cutie, with his 3 bases that he's been working on, he's definitely going to try and raise a massive army as fast as he can to try and get past Mikoel's supply advantage that he's got right now. All the early game stuff that's been going on really doesn't seem to make much difference at this point, since they've been a bit passive since that first Hellion harass. The Banshee didn't really get a whole lot done. He is actually still going with that Banshee. It looks like it's just now got taken out by some Marines just above that refinery.
Right,
yeah, they took it out. But here we go. Mikoel is going to be trying to move in, but is already in an entrenched position for Beastie Cutie, so he can't do that. He's going to to have to look for another route, maybe even load up for some drops.
Command centers being placed by both players. BCQD finally taking this inside pocket base. Mikoel actually all the way down to the bottom left-hand corner. He has his 4th command center on the way. No 5th quite yet, and he is still a little bit behind in infrastructure. But as we mentioned before, he is continuing to invest into that, so he will eventually catch up there. Of course, BCQD is playing for the late game with already having 1 million barracks in place.
Yeah, and 6 more supply depots being built at once for BCQD, trying to get that supply cap up as high as he can. Now that he has all those production facilities, he should be able to churn out units pretty easily. +2 vehicle weapons, +2 armor for his bio, actually finishing up now as well. And more sensor towers. Actually, once one Terran throws up a sensor tower, they just seem to populate like crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
You see none, or you see like 3 each. So here we go, big battle sieging up now on both sides, and you can see some nice blasts. Actually, Mikoel getting some extra damage in. They're still in range, and BCQD has not decided to retreat yet. So Mikoel did actually get a couple of extra blasts, but it looks like BCQD still has enough standing. He's going to try and run in here and take out the tanks as fast as he can. He does actually get all of them, and Mikoel has to retreat a little bit off of this offensive position.
Yeah, it was a really nice trade for BCQD, and he is reinvesting back into his tanks at the moment, which he does have an advantage, and he's producing 3 at a time, so his tank advantage is going to continue increasing slowly but surely. But at the same time, a huge amount of Marines is coming up here to the top right-hand corner, trying to just straight fire down this orbital command, but it's being repaired up by SCVs, and it looks like eventually BCQD is going to be able to react in time to save it. But Mikoel is going to go right into the main. There's another missile turret there waiting for him, too.
How many SCVs do you think he could have gotten there instead of trying to power down the orbital? He could have gotten at least 5 or 6 of them before those Marines showed up. I mean, he could have started the damage on the orbital command. Obviously, BC doing a little bit of a drop. It looks like they tried to take out the turret that probably took out the medevac. Either way, I think Mikoel could have killed a lot of SCVs there once he realized the orbital most likely wasn't going to happen.
And the Viking does clear up the rest of the units that were sitting here as well. Yeah. So Mikoel's a little bit on the back foot at the moment. He was actually a little bit better about his bio upgrades, getting them started much faster than BCQD. So he's going to have about 50 seconds where he has a giant upgrade advantage, chasing down another medevac there as he tries to take a 5th base.
So in a medevac, in a situation like that, full of Marines, just drop 1 or 2 as you're moving. I mean, you can keep it moving. The Marines will stop to fire on the Marines that you're dropping, and you can possibly get away. But that was nice. That was rough, and yeah, that was a good pickup there for Mikoel.
Yeah, snags a tank right in the middle of the map. He's about caught up in tanks overall. He's back in Marines, but he's way ahead in medevacs for the moment.
All right, there is a 20 supply difference, actually 25, 30 supply difference now. Beastie, with this entrenched position, he's actually moving forward finally onto Mikoel's side of the map, and Mikoel does not have his tank sieged up, so he is actually going to lose a lot of damage time while those Marines are sieged up, but he does grab still quite a lot of kills, and both sides just, poking and prodding at the other, but it looks like BCQD is starting to build up a little bit of an advantage.
This Marine did actually stop the base that was constructing off to the right-hand side. I don't think he's seen this base down to the bottom left-hand corner. I suspect that's where all the rest of the mules will go. Nice job catching his opponent on siege, but again, the tanks are just so powerful that Mikoel's losing so many units every single time he runs up. How many Marines does he have? He's down by 40 Marines.
Yeah, 81 Marines is a pretty high count, and that's going to actually really benefit Beastie because he can start dropping all over the place. He can start doing these 2-pronged attacks like you see on the mini-map now, and still be able to siege up and get Mikoel down even lower. Those Marines are definitely going to go down, but he is focused on that other group that he sent to the side. If he gets in here behind the siege tanks, he could actually get some damage done, but here we go. We'll see just how successful this is going to be. Mikoel still with the sieged up tanks, so it looks like Beastie may have been an ill-advised flank there.
That was a big mistake out of BCQD. He runs into 5 sieged up tanks directly, and his entire force is blown up, and he was at a pretty good advantage not too long ago, but now Mikoel has a lot going for him. He's got a bit of an upgrade advantage for the second, and he's going to try and retake the middle of the map.
Alrighty, surging forward once again after the little poke battle finishes. Mikoel still has a lot of tanks standing. He may want to consider sending some SCVs up. Yeah, there's the SCV repair squad coming to help out those tanks. They might just be transferring over to this left base. Never mind. I thought it would be nice since he had so many injured tanks that he might just want to keep them healthy. But here he goes, pressing forward. There's the huge wave of Marines that we saw in the production tab earlier. Still 11 more coming out at a time. The Raven comes over, not actually doing a whole lot at the moment, but the siege position of Nicole looks pretty good. He's taken out a lot of tanks of Beastie Cutie.
Wow, that was really dangerous right at the very beginning, too. I thought Beastie Cutie was going to have a decent position on the high ground, but he lost his tanks off to the side. Miko is still continuing to reinforce here, starting to pressure this planetary fortress up at the front, too. Beastie Cutie's tank count is down to just 3.
That one little flank attack that we saw on Nicole's side of the map may have just cost Beastie the game. This counterattack, this immediate surge forward, is being very, very successful. And of course, Miko does not have any interruption on his mining at all at the moment. He's establishing another base. He can actually keep this position pretty well. There's only one Marine there attacking. I'm sure he'll go deal with that. But Beastie's going to have to figure out what to do now against quite a large number of tanks from Miko.
Oh, that's a pretty good decision. Drop right on top of them and cause them to fire upon themselves. And he actually killed 3 tanks that way, so that was no small feat. It worked out really well, but Miko surging forward with another huge group of Marines right behind. And Beastie Cutie, even the, man, this just feels like very tug of war, just throwing waves of units at each other. But Beastie Cutie is starting to get pushed back.
Yeah, Miko actually into the mining operation of Beastie Cutie, starting to take out a lot of SCVs. This is eventually going to start getting worse and worse, and Beastie Cutie really needs to figure something out. He did very nicely with those drop Marines, but now he just doesn't have the tank count. That it seems like he doesn't have the tank count to be able to repel this. Miko is still supplementing through the middle of the map. We have a huge round of reinforcements coming. He actually stimmed up just to get them even faster, but he doesn't really have much medevac support. It's pure... oh, he actually does have a lot of medevacs still standing. Okay, I thought Beastie was trying to prioritize them, but actually Beastie Cutie is going to be chased out of this base location as well and lose a lot of SCVs and potentially 2 more bases.
Yep, that's 1 command center down. Here's a second that falls, and Miguel right now is looking great. I mean, he's way up on his opponent. Beastie Cutie needs to be able to win a huge engagement here to be able to turn things back in his favor, but his opponent's now on 5 full mining bases. He's setting up for a flank. May even catch all these SCVs in a bit. Now, it looks like they are finally going to make it over to the Planetary Fortress.
Planetary Fortress just now morphing in for Beastie Cutie. Here comes another big engagement. Miko's tanks are sieged up on the top, but if Beastie takes a lot of time to siege his, he's actually going to lose all of them. And GG, Karont3 Esports, Mikoel actually taking the first game.
Power of medevacs there in that last engagement. I mean, you saw how much it really does help when all those Marines are charged back up to full so quickly. So, Karont3 Esports Club, they're looking good. They've looked good in a lot of events recently, and this one's starting off no exception.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, Lucifron and Vortex are getting a lot of attention, so anytime that Mikoel, Alistar, Verdi happen to get some kills, that's definitely going to, you know, get their team that much further for Lucifron and Vortex to play cleanup or whatever it is. But with a nice win against Beastie Cutie, I mean, we still have a lot of... I guess Eastern European Terrans to get through. Koss and Happy, not Happy, sorry.
Yeah, Happy and Braddock as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, Braddock. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So they're Happy and Braddock are still on Empire. Braddock actually came over from FXO. That's who I was struggling to remember why I didn't think Braddock was on the team. But Strelok is still on FXO CIS. Braddock actually moved over to Empire.
Yes, and it is in fact going to be Braddock who comes in right now. So they decided the one Terran player wasn't enough. They're going to send in a second. So we'll see if he has a different look for Mikoel or if Mikoel can bring things back. Don't forget, guys, we have a sweet, awesome, amazing, cool TT Esports headset giveaway that we're doing right now. If you guys want to try and win that, head over to tinyurl.com/IPLTTEsports2. That's the number 2, so tinyurl.com/IPLTTEsports2. We really do love TT Esports for their support of esports, what they've been doing, sponsoring teams, sponsoring players, supporting events. So give them a big thanks for their help, and go ahead and try and win that headset.
Yep, and for now, we'll go ahead and get into the break. On the other side, we'll come back with Karont3 Esports Mikoel versus Empire Braddock.